WACOM, producer of the best drawing tablets on the market, used AI-generated images in one of their ads. Sort of. Kind of. They did, but not in the way that everybody thinks, and people are absolutely losing their minds over it. Listen, I hate AI. I've hated AI before it was cool to hate AI. Here's me hating AI for the last 6+ years. And I've been warning everybody that Adobe is planning to automate designers out of their jobs for 4 or 5 years, and now that's happening. I find the concept of generative AI to be deeply offensive on a human level, like society-ending, soul-destroying, manipulative, destructive, and coercive levels of evil behind the push for generative AI. But I'm also a proponent for nuanced communication and thinking things through, logic and reason, and not burning thousands of dollars of equipment that you've already purchased because you watched a 30-second TikTok video. What's more likely? That Wacom, a company that has historically supported artists in a number of ways and has gone out of their way to make good quality products, decided to save a couple of bucks and completely burn their user base by using generative AI? Or an overworked designer during Christmas vacation made a misstep and slapped an ad together with Adobe stock images, unaware that both Adobe and the dude who uploaded the images to Adobe didn't disclose that it was made with AI. I don't know how many people that are having these big giant reactions to this have ever spent Christmas vacation with your laptop near your family while they're playing games and munching on a charcuterie board while you're trying to bang together some marketing as fast as possible because it's the busy season and the only way that you were able to get the time off anyway was to meet some deadlines and you really want to get some of the good cheese before your brother-in-law finishes it all off? But I have. It's a very common situation. I've got to tell you, corporate deadlines are crazy sometimes. And the more likely situation is that some overworked designer had too much on their plate during Christmas while trying to get the January ads out, rather than Wacom decides to become a completely different company all of a sudden and screw over their entire customer base. Let's look at Wacom for a minute. This is the company that pioneered drawing tablets, and they made them so well that they last for more than a decade. I recently was talking to one of their sales reps, getting a lab on campus set up, and they actually have a bit of a problem because their customers don't buy often enough because the products are so well made. Listen, who else does that? Think about tech. Think about the top companies in hardware. Planned obsolescence. Batteries mysteriously overheating and tanking the processor when the next phone happens to come out or whatever. Wacom doesn't do that. They have an intense R&D process and they build frickin' tanks that last because that is the best thing to do for their customers. None of that is in line with the attitude of saving a couple of bucks by not hiring an artist. I went to Adobe Stock the other day and I found the account of the dude that made the dragons in these ads. Either he or Adobe has since caught wind of this and his account has disappeared, but he's definitely playing the quantity game in the stock world and he's doing it with generative AI. It's just a bunch of iterative stuff of the same kind of thing. It all looks a little bit weird. This guy actually has a recording of that and he talks about that. I'll link to his TikTok in there. Slapping a stock image together on an ad is way different than choosing to actively use generative AI. Should Wacom use stock images? I don't think so, but it's not a sin and it's understandable occasionally at crunch times. And most of the time, they're commissioning artists, they're hiring artists, they're partnering with artists, they're sponsoring artists, and they're using the artwork and crediting the artist in their advertising and in their blogs and in those things to do that. And then I hear a bunch of people saying Wacom can commission artists for their stuff. They do that all the time, fairly consistently, and they credit the artists. They're awesome. And one time, one of the employees in this company, of hundreds of employees spread all over the world, in different languages and different regions, got into a tight spot and didn't look at a stock image long enough. So, did Wacom use AI in one of their ads? Yeah. The idea that everyone in the company looks at stuff going out the door is nuts. I've seen a lot of people saying, I can't believe a company this large would let this happen. 1 or 2 people let this happen. It's not like there's dozens of people in a boardroom that decided to do this. The idea that every move that a company makes is completely calculated and thought through is stupid. Companies are full of people. People make mistakes and get busy and are given too much to work on and too little time. And sometimes they do stuff like this and make a mistake. Is it a trend? Does it happen often? Or is it a one-time thing that's most likely a single person making a bad call under pressure? Listen, there are evil companies out there. There are people actively trying to destroy art and artists that would gladly burn artists on the altar of the almighty dollar as they grease the palms of the politicians and newscasters clawing the way to the top of the world they've built. But, and I can't emphasize this enough, I don't think WACOM was one of them. They seem to be one of the good ones. One of the companies that isn't actively trying to screw over their customers and actually delivers quality. So your rage at generative AI is just, and I'm with you. I hate it too, and it should be regulated. It's ridiculous. There's a number of things that we should do about that. But don't aim that rage at our allies. Aim that rage at the monopolists and the tech bros actively trying to end us, and the politicians and bureaucrats allowing them to get away with it. Give people some grace sometimes. If you're with a company for a long time, I've been with Wacom for 20 years, and they treat you well, and they treat others like you well, and they're actively trying to do the right thing, then one misstep is a misstep. Just if it becomes a pattern, it's a problem. And this wasn't even intentional. This was an accident. It was a mistake under crunch time. Do what you want, think what you want, but I don't think they did anything intentionally wrong. I bet they'll think twice about using stock images in the future. And they have and will continue to commission artists and work with artists to do stuff. That's what they do. That's who they are at their core. So that's all I've got to say about that. Anyway, go make stuff. Do things robots can't.